Hey guys, it's Dustin with Family Tree Investing. Today I'm going to be talking about what I am looking for in a mobile home park investment and why I feel so strongly about finding a park with these features. Let's go. Alright guys, so in my previous video I talked about why I want to buy a mobile home park and why I think it has some great benefits over my current duplex portfolio. Go check that video out if you haven't already. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what I am looking for, what features, what characteristics I want in my first mobile home park investment. Okay, so the first is location. Now this shouldn't be surprising to you. It is the bread and butter of almost all of real estate, and mobile home parks are no exception. Bigger cities generally mean better location for mobile home parks, and that is just because you want to ensure that the community that that park resides in always is going to have a continuous flow of tenants and folks who want to live in that park. So if you have a higher population, you usually have higher, better amenities around. And that means folks want to live there. Okay, so another obvious reason of why you want parks generally in a higher population area, bigger cities, bigger metros, is because if a home moves out, you as the park owner can easily move a new home in, fill it with a new tenant, or it's gonna attract that right resident to bring their own home there, put it there and let it reside there for several years to come. Okay, the second thing that I need to talk about is utility setup. Now, the more you look into parks, the more you'll find that utilities can range widely from park to park. And these types of systems can range anywhere from your standard public utility setup, so you've got public sewer, water, gas, electric, all serviced by the municipality. On the flip side, you can have everything private. So you can have private well water, you can have private septic systems. Some parks even have private gas systems and electric systems. I have been working as hard as I can to clarify these things up front, because this can mean a big difference to you as the park owner if you now own the water, because that means you have to get it tested to make sure you don't poison your residents. Your septic system, you have to make sure that's compliant, properly draining, and can actually potentially cause a big expense if something ever goes wrong with that. Likewise, the gas systems, if you're like me and in Wisconsin and gas is one of the primary methods of heating for furnaces and things like that, if you own the gas system and that goes bad for some reason, has a bunch of leaks, this can be really bad because it shuts off the heat to all of your residents. So, long story short, I am looking for parks that are exclusively on public utilities. That would be public water, sewer, gas, electric. And this is very important to me. It's not that I'm opposed to some of those other things, although some of them can be iffy, but septics are not all that uncommon. I just don't have any experience enough with them that I really want to pursue something like that right now. So for me, public utilities all the way is what I'm looking for in my first park. Now, another important point is the size of the park. That is how many pads or lots that park has available for a mobile home to sit on. And mobile home parks these days can range anywhere from 2 to 200 plus lots. And for my first park, I'm looking for something, right in the middle there. Anywhere from, I'd say, 20 to 50, maybe a little bit more than that. And I say 20 on the low end because really anything less than that, I just don't think is worth the investment. And honestly, especially if I'm going to be managing this from afar and treating this kind of as a passive investment, then I want it to be really worth my time and my energy. So, I really want something in the 20 range at the low end, and then something upwards of 50 or so, because honestly, that's what I think I could afford realistically at the moment. Of course, I could get investors and things like this, but I'm really looking to go after my first deal on my own here, and for that reason, something 20 to 50 I think would be a perfect park for my first here. Okay, so the next consideration is how many homes the park owns versus how many homes are tenant owned in that park. Like I mentioned in that previous video, I want a park that I can eventually get it to become where all the residents own their own homes. And this is another important one to clarify up front if you can, because many park owners don't feel the same way. You know, they actually own the homes themselves and then rent them to the residents, almost just like as if they're like a single family house or kind of like a flat apartment complex. This is a strategy. A lot of park owners will swear by it because you can get higher rent and all this. In my mind, that's exactly the game I'm trying to get out of with my current duplex setup. So I want a park where I can pass off all the repairs, all the maintenance, all the issues with leaky toilets to the residents, because they will own all of those issues themselves if they own their own home. And this to me is the optimal park. I'd like to find one that almost has all of these things already in place, you know, where the tenants own their own homes. But if there's a few homes that I have to deal with and try to sell off, I'm okay with that. This is a pretty common occurrence. You know, a park that has maybe 90% tenant owned and 10% park owned. I'm not too concerned about that. It's where it gets into be, you know, 75% of the homes I own, and then I'm stuck with the repairs until I can get them sold off. That's not really where I want to wind up. So for my first park, as many tenant-owned homes as possible. Okay, the final thing I want to talk about today, and that's talking about the layout and the density of the park. Now, this is important because a lot of parks, when they were built, tried to shove as many trailers at the time onto one plot of land, and you know, to get as much rent in as possible from a small plot of land. And this can present several issues. The first being, with homes that close together, that's kind of a concerning, because one of the few things that, you know, a city can do to shut down your park is bring in the fire marshal. When you've got, you know, trailers crammed together, almost touching each other, it can become a fire issue. So this is something that I don't want to mess with. I want something where, you know, residents can have a little bit of space between each of their mobile homes, and we'll avoid that issue. It's also important because, you know, a lot of these parks had legitimate trailers, and the issue with that is that mobile homes are much wider and longer these days. So there's no way you're going to be able to take one of those old homes out of there, fill it with one of the new homes, and think that it's going to fit in any shape or form. You might have to take a couple of those older trailers out to make, again, a new trailer fit comfortably in those areas. So I'm looking for something that can fit some of the newer, average size trailers in there comfortably with space in between them. And I think that is a really important feature that you should look for. Okay guys, that's it. Those are the top features I'm looking for in my first mobile home park purchase. Surely they're not the only reasons, but I think they are definitely some of the most important things to look for in a mobile home park purchase, especially for someone just starting out like myself. With that, it's Dustin with Family Tree Investing. We'll catch you next time.